Hey, so before this video starts, I just want to say that I don't have any rights on the CreepyPasta character Eyeless Jack, and I don't have any rights on any CreepyPasta character that will appear in my story. So yeah, every right goes to the original writer, and yeah, this story is just fan made, so don't take it too seriously. And yeah, that's all. So I hope you enjoy the video. My brother and I never had it easy. We grew up in Poland, in a town named Sulencin. Well, my big brother, Jackson, grew up there. I spent my childhood there until my dad saved me and took me to the USA. It was horrible though. It was horrible to live without my brother, who was the most important person in my life. He was there for me when no one else was, and he protected me even if he hurt himself with that. The last time I saw him was before he got into college. But let's start at the beginning, shall we? First, I'm gonna tell you guys a little about my family. My brother Jackson, or as everyone calls him Jack, is 10 years older than me. His birth date is the 20th of October 1995. Our mother, Mariah, got pregnant with him when she was only 14 years old. It happened when she went on vacation in Salt Lake City in the USA and met our father, Jonathan, who was 16 at that time. Mom noticed that she's pregnant when she was back in Poland, and she didn't even have Dad's number or anything. Therefore, she had to take care of Jackson by herself. From what I've heard, everything was fine when he was a baby because Mom was basically also still a child. But our grandparents disowned her, so my brother grew up with one of our mom's friends. Years and years passed, and it got worse and worse. Mom didn't let my brother have any electronic devices, and he had to study the whole day. One wrong thing, and he's got his ass beaten. He had to take care of everything. He had to cook, he had to do the dishes, he had to clean up the house, he had to go shopping for groceries or clothes all by himself. Those were the only things Mom praised him for. She barely showed him any love, and when he told her he was getting bullied, she didn't seem like she cared, and told him that it would be his fault. It has gotten to this point where all his suffering has made him sick, so he started eating less and less until, yes, he became anorexic. Mom tried to force him to eat because in her eyes he's only doing this for attention and to get pity. Whenever he hasn't eaten his breakfast, lunch and dinner, which was almost always, Mom beats him and grounded him. The only friend and reference person my brother had was a boy named Max Watson. He has blonde hair, grey eyes, he's athletic, likes to skateboard, and is the same age as my brother. He's from Sweden but lives in America. That's where they met when Jackson and Mom went on vacation there, since she was hoping to find our dad. My mom only allowed Jackson to talk to Max on the landline though. When my brother was 9 years old, it suddenly knocked on the door, and it actually was our dad. He explained that he found the address in the telephone book and saved money to visit them. Mom was happy and dropped my brother off at her friend's place to spend some time with Dad, and that's when she got pregnant with me. Dad then suggested that we all move to the USA, but Mom didn't want to for some reason. So he decided to stay in Poland and teach Mom and Jackson some English. Of course, he was teaching me too after I was born, and my brother was happy to finally have someone to socialize with. He didn't care that I was a baby or a toddler and told me everything that burdens him. Every day when he came home from school, he spent time with me and talked about his day. Even when I was a child and didn't have a clue about life yet, he still talked to me about everything, and I did too. I was getting bullied since elementary school because I wasn't really thin and because of my social phobia that I have since first grade. I could only perfectly talk to my family because with everyone else, I'm thinking that they would laugh and make fun of me or just be mad at me. I have a theory that it's because of how our mom treats us, like we would be some kind of dolls. But I never talked to her about it, since she would say it's my fault and refuse to do anything because I can just talk. My brother was the only one who really cared about it, and he tried his best to help me talk. His school was near my school, so every day after school, before we walked home together, he asked me about my day. And when I told him someone was being mean to me, he immediately gave them an announcement and threatened them that if they don't stop, they would wake up without their kidneys tomorrow. My teachers, of course, had to tell our mom everything, and she beat the crap out of him. The bullying stopped for a while, though, and that was the only thing that mattered to Jack. Seems like everything was fine then, right? No. Dad saw all this for the first time and argued with Mom about that it's unacceptable to beat her children. She didn't have any understanding for this and didn't think she did anything wrong. When my brother interrupted and said that this is normal in this country, it crossed the line for our dad and he immediately packed his stuff. Mom assumed that Dad goes back to the USA all by himself and didn't say anything anymore. But when she fell asleep, Dad went into my room and packed my stuff too. I woke up and asked him what he's doing, but he just told me to be quiet, so I didn't say anything until he smuggled me out of the house. When we were on our way to the airport, I told him that I don't want to leave without my brother. Dad promised me that he will get him soon, and I just believed him. Months and months passed. Dad and I were living in Salt Lake City, and he still hasn't taken Jack out of that hell. It was horrible for me to not know how he's doing and to not even be able to talk to him, because even though Dad got me a phone when we arrived in the USA, my brother still didn't have one with the age of 17. After about a year, I once heard Dad talking to someone on the phone at night. I was in my room and I was half asleep, so I couldn't understand anything. I found out who he was talking to on the next day though. It was afternoon and I was in the living room playing with my Monster High dolls while watching the movie 13 Wishes, as suddenly Mom and Jack walked in. He immediately ran over to me and hugged me while our mom was talking to our dad. Apparently, she realized how shitty she was and apologized. I also heard them talking about that Jack wanted to go to a college in the USA, so I guess there was also a reason they came. But, well, I was 8 years old back then, so what did I know? Mom and Dad were helping my brother to apply for some scholarships, and while they were waiting for an application status, Jack and I heard our parents talking about something. They were talking about that they were worried about him because he never had a girlfriend, and they said that they hope he would meet a nice girl in college. I noticed my brother's mood changing to sad, so even though I didn't have a clue about love and such, I asked him what's wrong. He took me to another room and closed the door. Then he explained to me that some boys love boys and some girls love girls, and that he's one of the boys that are into boys. I wondered why he isn't telling that to mom and dad, so I asked, a dlaczego nie powiedzieć tego mamie I tacie? But he just answered, jesteś za młody, żeby to zrozumieć. Proszę nie mów nikomu, co właśnie powiedziałam. Which means that I'm too young to understand, and he wanted me to not tell anyone about this. I mean, he wasn't wrong. I was too young to understand. But I did what he said and kept it to myself. As then something weird happened. One day, when I was playing with my dolls again, Jack came home with some girl. She had brown hair like my brother, and I'm guessing she was the same age. Back then I thought she was beautiful, but no, she looked like a bitch. Jack was giving me a sad look, and then he walked hand in hand with her to her parents into the kitchen. Little me was curious, so I followed them. Her name was Jenny, and my brother introduced her as his girlfriend. Even my 8 years old ass thought this was weird. While our mom was happy and immediately started interrogating her, our dad knew as much as I did that this was bullshit. However, he decided to play along, because that's all it was, a play. Mom invited her to dinner and forced me to eat with them, so I did. I was staying quiet and gave Jack and Jenny skeptical looks the whole time, while Mom was interrogating her during the whole dinner. The scary thing was that Jenny had an answer to every single question. And according to Jack's surprised facial expressions, he didn't discuss all this with her. She even knew stuff about us that she wasn't supposed to know. Like the love story of our parents, or that the scar Jack's got on the left of his stomach was from when we went for a walk in the woods and I climbed a tree. He had to save me and a branch hit him there. It's pretty unlikely that he would tell a stranger about this. The most scary part, though, was when she made a joke about Jack's specific body part. Of course, I didn't understand it back then and didn't even know that it was a joke, but now it's pretty scary to me. Mom was asking what Jenny likes about Jack, and she answered, well, I'm into 11 inches. While I was confused, our parents were looking at her disturbed, and Jack was choking on his water. I can relate to that now. What? I was talking about height. He's 5 feet and 11 inches, isn't he? I like tall guys. Jenny then corrected herself. I could tell at this point that Jack and our dad started to be skeptic too, but it seemed like the situation was done for them at the moment Jenny left the house. It was different for me. I mistrusted her more and more, and I still had that strange feeling when she left. Jack wanted to walk her to the door, but they both went outside then. The door was a little bit open, so I got closer, because I was curious and still mistrusted her. That was awesome, but where did you get all these informations from? Jack asked her and passed her some money that happened to be $20. I don't kiss and tell. Jenny answered, smiling as she refused to take the money and left. Jack and I both got really confused, and I then went back into the living room to play with my dolls as I heard Jack getting back into the house and walking upstairs into his room. Mom and Dad were talking about Jenny while doing the dishes. She was enthusing about how nice Jenny was, while Dad wasn't really impressed and just straight up said that he thinks it's weird how she knows that much. Mom was blind and stupid as always, so she just assumed that they knew each other for longer, but waited for a good moment to introduce Jenny. I'm wondering how that's supposed to be possible when Mom and Jack were in the USA for only a week and he didn't have a phone before. Stupid. I tried to distract myself with my dolls and also put the movie Scarers on, which is also a Monster High movie, cause I was an addict. However, I couldn't help but think about Jenny the whole time. I just had such a weird feeling about her, and it didn't want to go away. I really wished that it was just a feeling though, or that I've done something to keep Jenny away from my brother. A little later, Jack went into college, and my strange feeling got stronger. I messaged him every day asking if he's okay and if anything weird happened. But he just enthused about how amazing this college is and that he's finally got some friends. Everything seemed fine until one day we were having our daily conversation about how he's doing and such, as he suddenly told me that Jenny goes to that college too. And as if that wasn't already bad enough, Jack also told me that his roommate was telling him that Jenny's creepy and always reads stuff about demons and cults. I wish Jack would have just listened to me at this point when I told him to be careful and to not trust her. But my brother was being a dumbass and thought she was pretty nice. I wished I could have done more, but what's an 8 years old girl supposed to do? I prayed so much that my feeling was wrong and that Jenny's just a normal girl who's into horror stuff. But no. One night after my brother and I texted Dobranoc to each other, which means good night, I saw him being online a few minutes later. It's the thing with phones that it shows that you're online even though you're just doing something else on your phone. And back then I didn't know about this, but now I'm pretty sure he was using his flashlight. I messaged him a few times then because that strange feeling was back, but he didn't even read the messages. I got really worried, so I spammed him with messages, and after about 10 minutes, it showed me that he read the messages. The online, under the name I saved his number in, which was Best Brother on Earth, changed to typing, and I felt so relieved until suddenly the typing vanished, and when I sent him a message, it only had one tick. That meant that either he's got no connection or that his phone was turned off or broken. I got so worried that I couldn't even fall asleep. I tried to tell myself that his phone probably just ran out of battery, but I still had a feeling that something horrible happened. I stayed awake the whole night and stared at the ceiling, hoping my brother is okay.